There's a lot of talk today about whether men and women are equal in today's society, whether men and women can do the same things and get the same results, and why men and women are more similar than they are different. But what if I told you that all of this is wrong, and men and women as a whole are equal? But in real life applications, they're nowhere close to equal. And this inherent, unchanging truth of inequality between the sexes is actually a good thing that is needed, now more than ever. For you to fully understand this concept of men and women not being equal, I'm gonna briefly talk to you about the concept of duality, because men and women are just one of the many physical manifestations of duality in this reality we live in. And when duality is understood, you'll be able to see it everywhere, and by seeing it everywhere, you'll be able to understand the overall truth. So what is duality, you might ask? Well, the standard definition is defined as the quality or condition of being dual. What does this have to do with anything though? Well, if you just take some time to look at anything around you, it's very easy to realize that most things in nature actually comes in the quality or condition of being dual, or in short, comes in the forms of twos. We can see this in positive and negative, good and evil, up and down, right and left, life and death, logic and emotion. This is not a coincidence. These are all expressions of yin and yang, or to be more modern, the masculine and the feminine. And I do want to make the distinction here that when I talk about the masculine and feminine, I'm not talking about men and women. This is beyond that. A proper way to look at the masculine and the feminine is as two distinct archetypes within duality. And if you don't know what an archetype is, the definition is the original pattern or model of which all things of the same type are representations. In short, think of an archetype as basically the original blueprint that everything else manifests from. And I know this may seem like I'm way off topic here, but this is important because the masculine and the feminine archetype is the source of why men and women are equal, but at the same time, unequal. These archetypes are at the root of everything. I say this because everything in life is really just a manifestation of either the masculine, the feminine, or a combination of the two. These archetypes have distinct, unchanging qualities that acts as a blueprint for everything else underneath them to follow. When these blueprints are not followed, it always leads to some form of chaos that you will understand more about later in this video. Because men and women are also manifestations of these blueprints, of the original masculine and feminine archetypes, we also share these distinct, inherent, unchanging qualities in the ways we express ourselves. When describing the feminine archetype, a couple of these distinct qualities involves being intuitive, nurturing, creative, reflective, flexible, emotional, spontaneous, and gentle. When describing the masculine archetype, qualities like being logical, decisive, willing to take risks, seeking achievement, competing, being intellectual, resilient, and focused comes to mind. If you hadn't noticed, the qualities between the masculine and the feminine archetypes are basically opposites of the other, and actually end up complementing each other's weaknesses through their strengths. And there are way more qualities that fall into these archetypes, but for the sake of the video, I've only named a few. If you want to know more about these archetypes, comment down below, archetypes. As humans, we recognize this concept of archetypes in the concept commonly known as gender roles. Although gender roles are often an extremely simplistic and often distorted way to view these qualities between the sexes due to their rigidity of I as a man must do this and you as a woman must do that. A more realistic way to view gender roles is I as a man choose to act like this to express more of my masculinity, and you as a woman can act like that to express more of your femininity. By doing this, we complement and balance one another where the other is weak. A masculine man goes out and takes action to create an environment of safety and comfort for a woman to feel safe in, so she can blossom and in turn support and nurture her partner through her love and compassion. Of course, there are feminine men and masculine women. For the case of these types of people, these roles would be reversed. But these are exceptions to the rule. Understanding the strengths and weaknesses of your archetype comes with a lot of benefits, and it also leads into why men and women are nowhere close to being equal, and why this is a good thing. But before I tell you why men and women are not equal and why this is a good thing, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more unique, high quality content that's designed to help you level up your life and reach your highest potential. When you hold a coin, it's easy to see that there's two sides. One side with one quality and one side with another. And yet it's still the same coin, even if one side may look slightly different than the other. This is what we are: masculine and feminine, up and down, good and evil, left and right, logic and emotion, men and women. We are all the same coin, just looked at from a different point of focus, which means that although we are all a part of the same thing, we're also not equal, because we are meant to do and succeed at different things. We are opposites that are meant to balance out each other. And there is nothing wrong with this, because although there is a push to make us all be the same thing with only one side of the coin, you'll never have the full picture. Balance must be achieved to see things clearly. And balance can only be achieved with both sides operating in their strengths and not their weaknesses, which is their opposite gender. So when men and women in today's society are being taught that we're equal, guess what this is doing? It's taking the balance out of society. And with the balance gone, it's impossible to see things clearly. When women are taught and start to believe that they can do everything a man can do, they become more masculine and they lose their feminine strengths, thereby becoming less attractive to the opposite sex. When men are taught and start to believe that they can do everything a woman can do, they become more feminine and lose their masculine strengths, thereby becoming less attractive to the opposite sex. As I said earlier, when the masculine and the feminine archetypes are not followed, it leads to chaos, but it also leads to confusion and toxicity. This is why so many people are having trouble in the dating market today, because everyone is confused on how to act due to not knowing that men and women are not equal. And although no one wants to acknowledge it, the sexes actually do have predetermined, distinct qualities that, when followed, leads to more fulfilling relationships. If you can understand the true reason why men and women are not equal, because we are two sides of the same dualistic archetype, which is masculine and feminine, and have inherent strengths and weaknesses that are meant to complement one another instead of compete with each other, you can start to look at your archetype and see how well you're expressing it. Because if you're not expressing it well, you're likely not living a very fulfilled life. So now, all you have to do is work on building these qualities in your life. As you begin to build and live more in alignment with these qualities, everything in your life will start to improve, especially your relationships with the opposite gender, because you'll also gain the ability to see what your potential partner or your current partner may be doing that's out of alignment with their natural archetype, and either help them correct it or find someone else who's more in alignment with their true self. Now, at this point of the video, you can see why this inequality between men and women is actually a good thing. So if you want to build upon that and take the next step to improving your relationships and learn something potentially even more important than what I talked about here, you need to click on this video, where I talk about why men are the main characters and why women are support characters. Thanks for watching my videos, and I'll see you in my next one. Love you guys. Peace.